Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Tesla Time News.
Episode 410.
On Now You Know.
As we mentioned in June, there's a great EV raffle going on this summer where you can win a Rivian or a Tesla Model X Plaid or even a Cybertruck.
And here's the update. The nonprofit running the raffle has sold less than half the tickets so far, and the drawing is barely a month away.
Bottom line, with fewer tickets sold, your odds of winning have never been better.
But that's not all. This year, our friends at the Chesapeake Climate Action Network Action Fund are giving you 2 chances to win with every ticket.
First place gets you your choice of the Rivian R1S or R1T, or the Tesla Plaid, or the Cybertruck.
Second place gets you the amazing Hyundai Ioniq 5.
So, with about 3,400 tickets sold so far, and with you getting 2 chances to win per ticket, let's do the math.
There's a 1 in 1,700 chance of winning a car right now with 1 ticket. Buy 2 tickets, 1 in 850. 4 tickets, 1 in 425. You get the drift. Try getting those odds in Las Vegas.
To enter, visit www.evraffle.org. That's evraffle.org.
Tickets are just $200 and only 7,000 max will be sold. But again, they're way below that now. So visit evraffle.org or check the show notes for a link. And thank you to CCAN for sponsoring this show. All right, so breaking news, Tesla has introduced the Model 3 long-range rear-wheel drive in the U.S. The starting price is $42,490. So if you take the federal EV tax credit, that is $34,490. Now, don't forget that the EPA range is 363 miles, 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds.
And Elon said, new Tesla Model 3 version available in North America, 363 miles of range for $35,000. I just want to take a step back and remember when they said that they would be coming out with a $35,000 Model 3.
In terms of price, well, of course, it'll be $35,000.
This was in 2016.
Way back in 2016.
And money back then was worth a whole lot more. So $35,000 then would have been like, I don't know, $50,000 now or something. And on the configurator page, by the way, on Tesla, they say that you can get this as soon as July. So, I mean, it's available.
Yeah. So if you bought a Tesla Model Y rear-wheel drive, Tesla is now offering a software range unlock to U.S. owners.
So how much range and how much is Tesla pricing it at?
Well, some owners have received an offer for about 50 extra miles for $1,600, and some have received an offer for an additional 30 miles for $1,000. Now, I think it's important to note that each of these range numbers comes with an asterisk. Quote, estimates are based on internal modeling and will vary depending on factors like battery age and driving behaviors.
Okay, so these aren't EPA-rated range additions. I mean, I know that Tesla haters are going to hate, and they're going to use this to be like, oh, so you have to pay Tesla for extra range even though the batteries are already there in your car? But look, at the end of the day, Tesla is a company, and they have to sell cars profitably. This approach allows Tesla to sell the cars for a lower starting price, which allows more people to be able to afford them. And for those people who can afford a bit more range for a bit more money, it helps Tesla's margins. I think that's a good strategy.
And I'm interested in what percentage of buyers will opt for the additional range. But another thing to keep in mind is that if you don't unlock the range, it means that you can charge your car up to a higher level.
That's right.
Because
100% isn't really 100%.
So, I mean, if the true 100% is like 350 miles or something, and you only can charge up to 320 miles, well, then that's fine because you can just do that every day.
No,
you don't
that's a
have
really
to,
good point.
You don't have to do the normal 80% thing.
It would almost be fun if Elon turned on like a daily subscription. So if you're going to grandma's house and you want that extra 30 miles, you could pay like $5 that day.
The thing is, if you're going to be charging up to 80% most of the time, what are you going to do? You're going to unlock this range and then charge to the range that you previously had? I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it because maybe there's, that one time you want to charge up to 100%. But most of the time, you're not going to need to. So Elon and 4 members of the Neuralink team gave a video presentation and Q&A on X last week.
They talked about telepathy, which is what Neuralink's first trial patient, Nolan Arbaugh, is using to control computers with his brain.
And they talked about one of the next products in the pipeline, Blind Sight, which would enable blind patients to be able to see again. I will say that again. This product would enable blind people to be able to see.
The visual part of the cortex is still there. Even if they've never seen before, we're confident that they could see.
Now, during the Q&A portion, where people ask questions on X, Elon responded to Doge Designer. He said Neuralink aims to implant chips in thousands of human patients within a few years.
Elon said over 1,000 is achievable in 2026.
Now, we all know that Elon is optimistic when it comes to timelines, but I've got to be honest here. When Elon said during Neuralink's presentation back in 2021, remember where he demonstrated the progress that Neuralink had made in primates and pigs? He said that Neuralink could happen in human clinical trials in 2024. And I was like, okay, that may not happen that fast. But then, in February, Nolan Darbaugh actually had a Neuralink implanted and has been successfully using it to do things that he has not been able to do since his accident.
And according to this video update, Neuralink is looking to have, quote, in the high single digits, new Neuralink human patients by the end of this year.
Yeah, no, this is a game changer. And it's actually good to see that the legacy media has actually started to cover the fact that Neuralink is a real thing because it's going to change people's lives.
And it's one of those things that I think is just a lot harder to be mad at. I think that when it comes to AI and when it comes to robots, people are like, oh, it's going to take my job. And it's like, right. But when you can make the blind see and the crippled walk, it's a little bit different. It hits different in terms of technology than, like a crappy ChatGPT poem.
But the legacy media was trying to do some FUD. Bloomberg reported last Thursday night that Tesla delays Robotaxi event in a blow to Musk's autonomy drive. Another bit of questionable journalism from Dana Hull, where she cites, according to people familiar with the decision.
As of this recording, there has been no word yet from Tesla or Elon on whether the delay from August 8th to October is true.
Yeah, so we're not really reporting here on a delay because it hasn't officially been announced that there is a delay yet.
It's a great tactic because they do delay stuff often.
Right.
So if you just say, well, according to people who told me, nobody, they're going to delay it. And then if it happens to be true, it's like, I've told you so, I knew it, and whatever I said back then was true.
So if the Giga Slide and the Giga Hamster Rave Cave at Giga Berlin weren't enough, then how about
GigaGym?
We want to pump you up.
So, I mean, these are some nice amenities for Giga Berlin's 12,000 employees to have access to.
Yeah, and they got a DJ. I guess sometimes like a DJ will play for your morning routine or something.
Interesting. I don't know if I'd listen to different music than most people when I exercise.
You'll wear your headphones.
Don't most people? I mean, I know you need to get pumped up, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll be wearing my headphones. Yeah. Now, Giga Berlin's plant manager Andre Tierig said that Tesla was focused on preventable healthcare.
Tesla's physiotherapists and occupational therapists on site to aid the employees in staying healthy. Just another cool benefit at Giga Berlin, which is going to make it harder for the other gigafactories. I mean, now they've got to come up with something to beat the rave cave, the slide, the gym.
I think instead of them talking about all this boring, like staying healthy and occupational therapy and staying healthy, they should be making everyone at the gigafactory jacked. Now, remember last week we were talking to you about the new provisional tariffs going into effect in Europe. Well, now it seems that Tesla's being affected by those additional 20.8% tariffs.
Now, fortunately, this just affects the Model 3, which is made in Shanghai, but here are the new prices. So you can see they're all going up €1,500. It affects the rear-wheel drive Model 3, the long range, and the performance.
So it looks like Tesla had to tack on an additional €1,500. That's about $1,600 to cover the tariff.
Yeah, the EU has taken this step because they claim that China is subsidizing Chinese EVs coming to Europe, and European auto companies are having a hard time competing.
The full EU should be taking a vote in November to see if these tariffs stay or go away.
And it looks like that they will depend on what the Chinese government decides to do in the meantime. Now, I was just taking a look at this because I'm like, that doesn't look like 20.8%, and it's not. As you can see here, it depends on the price of the model, but like the lowest end, it's a 3.6% price increase. Model 3 Performance, it's a 2.6%. If they were to actually add the entire tariff on, it would have had to be €8,500 all the way up to €11,800 to cover the whole tariff. So I don't know if Tesla's doing this slowly to get people used to the price increases, or they're maybe hoping it won't fully affect them. But Europeans who probably are following this closer than we are, let us know what's actually going on there. Wow. Now, you know one funny thing that the legacy media likes to do to mislead you about Tesla, right? It's to come out with a bunch of stories when some very specific sales or production number is low.
Tesla sales numbers in China are down in the third week of the second quarter. Does this spell the beginning for the end of Tesla in China?
So for like a solid week, you'll get headlines like that on your news feed from Bloomberg and Reuters. And then outlets like CNBC and Jalopnik will run with it. And before you know it, your uncle is like,
So I heard Elon Musk is going out of business in China. I knew it was all a Ponzi scheme.
That's why we generally like to report on trends longer than a few weeks. So let's take a look at data from China's Passenger Car Association for the first half of this year.
Yeah, 6 months worth of data now tells a very different story.
So the Tesla Model Y is the best-selling new energy or electric car in China in the first half of this year.
That's the biggest auto market in the world, and Tesla is beating BYD and Nissan.
Model Y has sold 207,817 units, beating last year's numbers by about 4,000. The BYD Seagull sold 167,000 units, and the Nissan Sylphy sold 161,000.
Wow, so the Model Y beat the number 2 BYD Seagull by 40,000 units.
And that's just the Model Y. Tesla has also sold about 69,000 Model 3s in China during the first 6 months of this year. All right, it's time for the Cybertruck Roundup.
Yeehaw! The Cybertruck Roundup.
So according to Cox Automotive, in June, the Tesla Cybertruck became the best-selling vehicle in the U.S. priced over $100,000. The average price was $112,696 with more than 3,200 units sold.
And Elon said, cool.
And keep in mind, if you're like, so the Cybertruck is this big overpriced vehicle. Well, it's the first edition, right? It's the launch edition.
So many people bought the Beast mode, which starts at $100,000, but then they had to tack on the additional $20,000 foundation price. And that also meant that if you wanted to buy the dual motor variant, which was the only other variant available, you also had to fork over another $20,000. The starting price of the Cybertruck eventually should be, hopefully, $60,000, which is a far cry from $112,000.
Tesla UK posted on X, catch the Cybertruck at the Goodwood First Glance Hill Climb and Paddock all weekend. And then some cool video of the Cybertruck racing in a place where it doesn't seem to belong.
It is a fascinating thing. It sort of takes you back a little bit, and yet it is also incredibly modern and forward-going. So it's a real mixture, this Tesla Cybertruck.
Mr. Beast just released a video that had 16 million views in just the first 5 hours, where he placed the top 50 YouTubers in a room with $1 million, and then he revealed the first challenge with 10 Cybertrucks as the reward. As Marquez said,
how did they get this many Cybertrucks in one place?
And Elon said, cool. So if you were worried that the Cybertruck wasn't culturally relevant,
I just want to say, those YouTubers have over 1 billion subscribers combined. So just that one video, I'm sure all their viewers were watching it, got a lot of attention for Cybertruck. Oh, and congratulations to some of the lucky winners who got to drive home in a free Cybertruck, who were just subscribers to those channels. And then this breaking news from Germany, where climate change activists attacked a Tesla center in Hamburg, Germany, and vandalized electric vehicles. Farzad said, these people are f***ing morons.
and Elon agreed with him.
Well, and Viv said, I'll go ahead and state the obvious. If you genuinely care about the climate and ensuring the future is good, you do not attack the company that is demonstrably doing the most to accelerate the adoption of EVs and clean energy.
And Elon said, absolutely.
Yeah, the funniest part to me in this video is that when it's obvious what's going on, the employees at the Tesla store don't stop them. They're just like, I don't know, walking around. Why not tackle the guy?
Well, I'm sure you're not supposed to do that in Germany.
How about yell at him?
That's also... No.
Let me open the gate for you so you can...
This is dumb, okay? Because I care about the climate. That's why I bought a Cybertruck, right? Because the Cybertruck is electric. And I can power that electric truck off of solar energy. And then I have a pickup truck that's powered off of solar energy, unlike most pickup trucks you can buy.
A bunch of people spotted Cybertruck with LiDAR and radar, and then asked dumb questions like LiDAR and radar confirming camera data for FSD for Cybertruck.
Now, before you say, hey, that Tesla release candidate Cybertruck has LiDAR and radar on it, Tesla only uses vision for full self-driving. That's true, but to calibrate and validate that the cameras and the software are working properly, it's not unusual to use LiDAR and radar.
Yeah, if the cameras say that the stop sign is 43 feet away, the LiDAR, for instance, can confirm that that is true or not, and then the software can be tweaked. This is actually a really good sign that hopefully we'll be getting full self-driving in Cybertruck soon, because Elon said it would happen at the end of June.
And It's halfway through July.
And if you want to learn everything and more about Cybertruck, go to the Cybertruck Owners Club. They help sponsor this show, and there you're going to find the reservation tracker, and you're going to be able to figure out where you are in line for your Cybertruck. So you know how a lot of mid-sized home batteries these days are called solar generators? Well, we just reviewed what I think you can legitimately call a solar generator. It's over on Now Let's Review channel.
Yeah, it's the BROWEY C600 solar portable power station, and it has a built-in solar panel. So without the need to plug anything in, you can just fold out the attached solar panel and get free energy from the sun to help keep you charged up.
And if you want to see if this battery fits your needs, please check out our Now Let's Review channel and please subscribe so we can keep bringing you reviews of everything electric. So the legacy media was busy reporting on some big Tesla news a few days ago.
65,000 mugs have gone missing at Tesla's German factory.
Elon said we were mugged. So according to German media Handelsblatt, Giga Berlin plant manager Andre Thierig revealed this problem during a recent staff meeting.
The article suggests that the plant has been dealing with various workplace issues and worker strife, including safety concerns and union disputes.
So Handelsblatt said that Thierig even threatened to remove cutlery from the break room if the thefts of mugs do not stop, telling the 12,000 employees, "We've bought 65,000 coffee mugs since we started production here." 65,000! Statistically speaking, each of you already has 5 IKEA coffee cups at home. I'm really tired of approving orders to buy more coffee cups.
And it appears that some of the mugs may be being resold on eBay.
I knew it! Tesla's going bankrupt. They have to sell mugs to stay open.
The bears were right. Tesla is a Ponzi scheme. It's all built on coffee mugs. So, I thought this was a big heist. It sounds like someone came and stole pallets and pallets worth of Tesla coffee mugs.
I doubt it. I think what it is, like, everyone's like, oh, nice mug. I think I'll take this home.
What? So, I mean...
Most companies just don't have nice mugs. They have, those, like, I'm the best dad in the world mugs and stuff that people don't want.
I mean, a lot of companies don't even provide the mugs. Usually you have to bring in your own mug, and then you're like, that's my mug. And I mean, it's... Aside from the ones being sold on eBay, it seems like it's kind of a nice perk. I mean, it's not a lot of money here.
And that's a lot of mugs.
It's a lot. I mean, that's an insane amount of mugs.
Well, you know what happens when an automaker tells the world one thing and then does another.
Flip-flop Ford? Tell me more.
Ford told everyone, including the great state of Michigan, that they would be building so many EVs by now, remember?
Yeah, back in 2018, 2019, and 2020, they said, just give us a couple years and we'll be the leader. Hey, they are number 2.
Okay, technically they are. Well, because Ford has decided to downsize their EV production this year, remember, for instance, in February when they stopped making the F-150 Lightning.
But they kept making the internal combustion version.
Right. So the great state of Michigan is pulling the plug on a bunch of EV tax incentives to Ford because of Ford's flip-flop. Michigan's Economic Development Corp, or MEDC, has cut Ford's incentive package from $1.03 billion down to a mere $409 million after Ford reduced their spending plans on an EV battery factory in Marshall, Michigan, from $3.5 billion and 2,500 jobs to $2.5 billion and 1,700 jobs.
Because, who needs batteries? Because we're not actually going to build these EVs, right? But that's not all. The MEDC is also rescinding $772.8 million for a 15-year Renaissance Zone tax break and another $100.8 million in grant money because Ford cut jobs at their Rouge Electric Vehicle Center.
Mom, the state took away half our play money. Now what am I supposed to do? Being a CEO isn't as fun as I thought it would be. I just want to drive sports cars and play golf.
Okay, so tell me more about Ford's battery plant in Marshall.
Well, Ford says they expect to start making LFP batteries in 2026, but construction is roughly 20% complete, so I wouldn't hold your breath.
It's funny how all these people and news stories used to talk about how Tesla was only staying afloat because it was taking handouts from the government, when in fact it was a loan that Tesla paid back early. But now all these companies are getting free money from the government just to compete, and nobody says anything about it.
I wonder why that is.
Because we take the money from the government and we spend it on advertising, which gets us good press, and then nobody talks about it. But it's not just Ford getting free money. So I spotted this the other day. Biden administration to award nearly $1.1 billion to Stellantis GM for EV production. In total, the IRA designated $1.7 billion as part of the Domestic Conversion Grant Program. The article talked about how Hyundai Mobis is getting $32 million to produce plug-in hybrid components and battery packs.
Yeah, Harley-Davidson is getting $89 million to expand its York, Pennsylvania plant for EV motorcycle manufacturing.
$80 million is going to the Bluebird Bus Company to convert a former Georgia plant to build electric school buses.
Cummins is getting $75 million to convert part of an existing Indiana plant to make zero-emissions components in electric powertrains.
$208 million is coming from the DOE, going to Volvo Group,
Which is owned by a Chinese company.
to upgrade plants in Maryland, Virginia, and Pennsylvania to increase EV production.
$157 million is going to ZF North America to convert part of its Michigan plant for EV component production.
And the list goes on.
Now, how much are they giving to Tesla?
Well, as Jeff Lutz says, this is unbelievable. Why would the U.S. DOE and POTUS give money away, U.S. grants, to Chinese-owned Geely, Volvo parent, and Hyundai for EV production and zero to the American leader in EVs, Tesla?
Yeah, look, I get that the money was designated in the Inflation Reduction Act, but really? We're going to give money to foreign-owned companies before one of the most American companies making EVs, Tesla?
And Elon agrees with you. He says, does seem weird. Well, it's all because Tesla is ahead of the curve. Tesla is a gifted automaker, okay? They're gifted, and therefore, they don't receive any grants or any help because they don't need to convert any of the
I see, and that's
production
why
to
they're not
EVs.
invited to any EV events, too.
Well, we just don't want to discourage some of the other students. I mean, vehicle companies. Yeah.
And going back to Ford, Jim Farley said, today our Ford Europe team unveiled the new all-electric Ford Capri, our latest electric vehicle from our Cologne Electric Vehicle Center. Excited to see the Capri return to Europe, reimagined for a new generation. The legend is back.
The legend is back. Did you see it? The greatest all electric. Looking good, no? But who is this man? Je suis Capri.
The legend is back?
Don't you know that the original Ford Capri was an iconic European sports coupe back in the day from 1969 to 1986?
The Capri? No, I've never heard of it.
Capri stands for cool, athletic, past meets future, rebellious to its core, intelligent technologies.
But this is an SUV, it's not a coupe.
Oui, but Ford claims it is the ultimate getaway car with 386 miles, that's 621 kilometers of range.
Getaway car at a 0 to 60 of 6.4 seconds.
But the option 2 has a 0 to 60 in 5.3.
So this is going to be built along with the new Ford Explorer EV at Ford's Cologne, Germany plant, where they used to make tanks during World War II, Panzer tanks.
Yes, but we don't like to talk about that part so much. We'd rather talk about the 250 kilowatts of motor power and up to 185 kilowatts of DC fast charging speed with 79 kilowatt hour battery.
What's the starting price?
The starting price of the Ford Capri EV in Europe is approximately 48,000 pounds or 51,950 euro.
But the starting price for a Model Y in Germany, for instance, is 44,990 euros. So, Europeans, what do you think of the Capri?
Model Y doesn't say, what does Y stand for? Eh? Why?
All right, it's time for some SpaceX news.
Starman, take it away.
Welcome back to the Starman Report. I'm Eli Burton, your host, and we have a lot to talk about. Starting off with an update from the ISS. NASA astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore were supposed to come back to Earth after about a week on the ISS. But engineers have delayed the return flight indefinitely because of safety concerns around the Boeing Starliner capsule. Interestingly, also docked at the International Space Station right now is the SpaceX Dragon Endeavour spacecraft and the Soyuz MS-25 cruise ship. NASA's commercial crew chief, Steve Stitch, acknowledged to reporters that either one of those vehicles could provide an alternative ride home for Williams and Wilmore. In his statement, Stitch said, "We have a little bit more time to go through the data and then make a decision whether we need to do anything different with the return plan. But the prime option today is to return Butch and Sonny on the Starliner. Right now, we don't see any reason that wouldn't be the case." So NASA is currently still planning to return these two astronauts on board Starliner Although I could see that changing and these astronauts returning on the SpaceX Crew Dragon if the data analysis between NASA and Boeing doesn't turn out as hoped. In other news, SpaceX will not be able to recover the 20 Starlink satellites left in very low Earth orbit after a malfunction of the Falcon 9 upper stage on July 11th. During the second stage of the launch, livestream viewers started seeing chunks of fluid and ice, which was caused by a liquid oxygen leak that ultimately prevented the Starlink payload from reaching its intended orbit. Last but not least, Microsoft has led a $40 million fundraising round for a Starlink networking startup. Yes, you heard that right. The startup Armada has raised an additional $40 million through the Microsoft-led funding round to develop mobile data centers tailored specifically for SpaceX Starlink's broadband network. Armada is first focusing on deploying artificial intelligence computing tools designed to empower remotely connected devices running over the Starlink network. Armada has reported that it has received around $100 million in funding since exiting Stealth about 6 months ago. And real quick, stealth is a terminology used for when companies are developing technology in secret as long as they can before opening up to the public what they're doing to start raising more capital. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of the Starman Report, and I look forward to having you back for more of the most exciting news in space.
Thanks, Eli.
I'm getting excited to get our copy of the latest Starman adventure. It's coming out very soon.
Don't forget to go to shadowovermars.com to get yours before they're gone.
And we have a Patreon poll this week to see what our patrons think. Will NASA bring the astronauts home from ISS on Starliner or Dragon? And in some more SpaceX news, Elon said Flight 5 Super Heavy booster moved to the pad at Starbase, getting ready for Flight 5. Success is not guaranteed, but excitement is. Starship is the kind of thing that makes people from little kids to seniors excited about the future. An everyday astronaut said front flaps are much more leeward, away from the belly, and forward towards the nose. This is what Elon was talking about a lot in our latest conversation. The next ship looks so clean, too.
Elon said this is an important design improvement.
All right, it's time for Into the Future, sponsored by our friends at Henson Shaving.
If you want to get an amazing Henson razor, and you want to get a great deal that Henson Razor has been running with us for a long time, you can get 100 blades for free when you check out with their Henson Razor. Use the code NOWYOUKNOW at checkout, and you'll get 100 blades for free. Tesla Energy posted last Thursday. Last night, the Powerwall fleet in California delivered more than 100 megawatts to the grid during a virtual power plant event, reducing the need for fossil fuel peaking plants. Power delivered from Powerwall owners is from distributed solar. If you're on a VPP, Tesla can control your home's Powerwall battery to feed electricity to the grid when there is peak demand, and therefore gas peaker plants don't need to fire up and start running. Tesla has installed 600,000 Powerwalls so far around the world, or 8.1 gigawatt hours of stored energy. And if you're like, oh, that's nice, people let Tesla use their Powerwalls just because they're nice people. Well, I'm sure they're nice people, but they also just got paid for Tesla to use the solar energy stored in their Powerwalls for an hour or two. Our estimate of this event is that about 7,500 Powerwalls were deployed for about an hour, and that would be about $200,000 earned for those Powerwall owners, or about $27 per Powerwall just for that one event. Not bad, especially when you consider these events happen quite frequently during the summer and winter. Yeah, VPPs are the future of the electrical grid. They make the grid more resilient and stable, and they reduce the price of electricity for everyone. All right, it's time for Going Green. Okay, when you think of big gas guzzlers, what's one of the first models that comes to mind? The Escalade. Yes, the Cadillac Escalade. It's got 14 miles per gallon city, 19 miles per gallon highway, so 16 miles per gallon combined. It burns a lot of fuel.
Like a lot?
But what if I told you that GM is now making the 2025 Cadillac Escalade IQ, which should be hitting Cadillac dealer showrooms by the end of this year? It looks like a more fuel-efficient model? The Escalade is going green. The IQ is GM's all-electric version of the Escalade and Cadillac's third IQ model. All right, hit me with the stats. Well, how about 460 miles of range? Okay, wow, that must be a huge battery. What's the charging speed? Well, Cadillac's website says this. Okay, 800-volt public DC fast charging capabilities that provide rates up to 350 kilowatt hours. Wait, kilowatt hours?
did the marketing person who wrote the copy for this website even understand that charging speed is how many kilowatts, not kilowatt hours?
Apparently not. So it has 2 motors, 750 horsepower, 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds. It has crab steer and a 55-inch screen.
So no battery size or charging speed, huh?
Well, Cadillac says it can charge 100 miles in 10 minutes. So that points to 250 kilowatts of DC fast charging.
Unless the battery is so huge that it actually means
Right.
350
They
kilowatts,
seem to
which would be even better.
They seem to be just cutting and pasting this little stat all the time. But yeah.
But what about the price?
All right. So the Escalade IQ Luxury One all-wheel drive trim starts at $129,990.
Oh, $130,000?
Oh no! Oh no!
Wow. Well, I'm glad that that's their luxury model. So what are the other trim prices?
Oh no, that's their lowest price. That goes all the way up to the Sport 2 trim, which starts at $150,490, and that's starting price before options.
What? So basically, almost 2 Model X's for the price of an Escalade.
Yeah, and it appears to be built on the same Ultium platform as the Hummer EV. My guess is that this is just the Hummer EV with an Escalade body.
I think that they're going to have a hard time selling many of them.
Yeah,
but
I think because like Escalade buyers don't typically care about anything but.
I mean, I've met people who drive Escalades, and I don't get the impression that they had spent over $100,000 on their car. So I think that when they're going to be like, oh, let's get a new Escalade. And then they're like, what?
All right, it's time for Sunspots. So Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer just signed the Homeowners Energy Policy Act, which will go into effect in October.
The new law allows homeowners to install solar and other energy improvements on their homes, including EV chargers and heat pumps, even if their homeowners association doesn't allow it.
Michigan now joins these 20 states which have similar laws. So if you live in these 21 states, you can tell your homeowners association to go themselves.
Wait, we're in that one.
Yeah.
But we are not in a homeowners association.
No.
Obviously. And across the pond, with the new Labour government elected in the UK on July 4th, a bunch of solar projects that were held up by the previous government have now been approved.
Ed Miliband, UK's energy secretary, says, I want to unleash a UK solar rooftop revolution. We will encourage builders and homeowners in whatever way we can to deliver this win-win technology to millions of addresses in the UK so people can provide their own electricity, cut their bills, and at the same time help fight climate change. So these first 3 solar farms that Miliband approved, the Suffolk, Cambridgeshire, the Lincolnshire, and the Rutland, are all in East England. They will generate 1.35 gigawatts, or about 2/3 as much solar capacity that was installed in UK all of last year.
That's enough electricity to power about 400,000 homes. So get ready for more rooftop solar, solar farms, wind power, and batteries in the UK.
This is really great news.
Now, some people say that getting solar panels is just about trying to show that you care about the planet. It's like some kind of badge of honor.
And that may be true. But I think for most people, it's a question of economics. If I can put solar panels on my roof, get clean, free energy from the sun, and save money, then sign me up.
But does it save people money?
Well, the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory just completed a study to answer this, and their lead investigator, Sidney Forrester, a policy researcher in the Energy Markets and Policy Department at the laboratory, says this is one of the most comprehensive household-specific national estimates of rooftop solar impacts on household energy burden.
Okay, before we share what they found, we want to point out a few things. Number one, this data was from 2021, so the data is already about 3 years old.
Number two, this data includes the cost of the solar panels, the inverters, the installation, the fees, the ongoing loan or the lease payments, everything. So if there is a savings, it is a true savings.
Number three, this was a big study. 500,000 households across the United States.
And number four, every state is different.
Some states get more sun.
Some states have higher electricity rates.
Some states have better solar incentives.
What this study looked at was averages. Okay, so let's dive in. Overall, the median U.S. household with solar panels saves $691 per year.
About 3/4 of the households with solar panels reduced their electricity bills.
Now, in some places like the South, where electricity prices are relatively low and many southern states don't have solar incentives, some households with solar haven't seen a cost savings yet. And I say yet because those solar panels are still pumping out energy every month and electricity rates continue to rise.
I mean, look at the rates in some of these states.
And they've been going up very fast recently. Check out this chart of average retail electricity prices in the US. Red is the residential rate.
Look at that. We're at an average of 16.88 cents per kilowatt hour.
Up from 11.4 cents just a decade ago. That's an annual rate of change of 3.8%. But that's a bit misleading because a lot of that change has happened in the past couple years. Rates went from 13.3 cents in 2020 to 16.88 cents earlier this year. So that's a 6.7% annual rate of change. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the 3 years since this survey data was reported, if many of those households haven't started seeing an electricity savings on their bills.
And don't forget that during that time, the cost of solar panels continued to drop.
So the takeaway here is that the average U.S. household with solar saves $691 per year, and that could be you. So if you would like that to be you, talk to our friends at Energy Pal. They help you go solar for less. They know everything about batteries, incentives, all that stuff that is very confusing, and they will help you do it for free. Let them know that Zach and Jesse sent you. The link is down below. All right, it's time for our video contributor stories. We need your stories. Remember to send them to us 2 minutes or less. Shoot them in landscape, good audio, no music. Send them to hello@nowyouknowchannel.com. What do we got this week?
Our editor Brian sent us this story about the Michigan Tesla meetup that they went to recently.
Hey, Zach and Jesse, Brian here. Hoping your cyber camping has been going well. We were camping too through much of June in our Model Y. First stop was the Michigan Tesla owners' summer meetup in Muskegon, June 15th and 16th. We drove over from Minnesota through the Upper Peninsula for a change of pace, some beautiful bridge views, and camping on the shores of Lake Michigan. The event was at a perfect outdoor park and the stage adorned with an original Roadster and Tesla Tino's Cybertruck. The day was filled with lots of great panel discussions with YouTube and ex-notaries and your pal Sandy Monroe. There were a good variety of vendors, other EVs, and puppies gathered on an excellent summer day. They capped it off with a group Q&A and even a musical number begging the question, do Teslas dream of electric sheep? That night we returned for a massive Tesla light show designed by Simon Pollock, and it was really cool to be in the middle of it, and to see how they even got an older Model S involved. The fun continued the next day, Plaid Day, where we met at the Muskegon Supercharger, then caravanned out to an undisclosed location for some launching fun. Cybertruck, Cyberbeast, and Plaids were all giving quarter-mile rides to the delight of everyone. And under the watchful eye of Justin, the bearded Tesla guy, for safety. We dodged the weather through the event, but then had a rainy drive back north to the Mackinac Bridge and our camp for the night. A good drive home the following day with some windy beach time as we capped off that 1,679-mile section of our trip. I'll have a longer road trip video with all the stats and details on my channel shortly, but it was a great event, a wonderful weekend, and so much fun to spend more time with the Midwest Tesla community. Now you know.
Wow, that looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Brian, and look, everyone should go check out Brian's channel because he's got amazing road trips and he gives you so much great data on how the trips work out. So thank you so much, Brian. And if you want to see all of his work, well, first of all, he's editing today's show. And you can see his work also on our Now We Adventure channel where we go for our own electric bike adventures. All right, it's time for the Patreon bonus stories. We have so many this week. We also have so many Investor Club bonus stories. So head on over to Patreon. You can support us for as little as $1 a month and you'll get to see all of our Patreon bonus stories. All right, we're back from our Patreon bonus stories. It is time for the poll.
Will NASA bring the astronauts back to Earth from the International Space Station on Starliner or Dragon? And most people said Dragon, but a lot of people said that NASA was going to save face, and that's why they were choosing Starliner.
That's definitely why they're doing this. The other thing, I didn't give the option. There is a Soyuz capsule there, so I suppose you could bring them back on Soyuz if you want to.
I think that Boeing would probably prefer
Soyuz.
The Soyuz. Yeah, our Russian friends over Elon Musk.
All right, it's time for Elon's X's of the week. Buckle up. There are a lot of tweets. Mario says, Warren Buffett on how to end the U.S. deficit in 5 minutes. You just passed a law that says anytime there's a deficit of more than 3% of GDP, all sitting members of Congress are ineligible for re-election.
And Elon said, great idea.
Robert says, yesterday one of the top articles in the New York Times was about SpaceX killing some birds during rocket launches. Today, after Boeing pled guilty to killing 346 people, you have to scroll past 20-plus articles to read about it. But sure, they don't have an anti-Elon agenda.
Elon said Boeing pays them off with advertising money.
Elon says when combined with mail-in ballots, the system is designed to make it impossible to prove fraud. Mail-in and drop-box ballots should not be allowed, as cameras on the in-person voting stations would at least prevent large-scale fraud by counting how many people showed up versus ballots cast. Kiko says, they say imitation is the greatest form of flattery, Elon. This Chinese company is called Cosmoleap.
And Elon says, looks familiar.
Ashley St. Clair says the sudden and vicious betrayal of Biden from all of the people who have worshipped him without question for 4 years is nothing short of appalling. Democrats, media darlings, and journalists are only throwing Biden into the wood chipper since the memo went out to do so.
Elon said the degree to which the media are NPC drones is amazing to watch.
God says the fundamental question that I ask people when I'm gauging their intellectual honesty is to describe for me what the evidence would need to look like in order for them to alter a given position that they hold.
Elon said this is an excellent way to assess someone's rationality. Another way is to ask them to assign a probability to their argument being true versus false. Anyone who says anywhere close to 100% for a matter where there is subjectivity is full of shit.
Ian says everyone thinks it's okay to call for violence as long as it's against Jews, apparently.
Elon said there should be no special categories. A clear call to violence against anyone is not okay.
Elon says electronic voting machines and anything mailed in is too risky. We should mandate paper ballots and in-person voting only. Elon Docs quoted Elon, people should feel proud if they've done something that's useful to their fellow human beings.
Elon says that's what matters. Respect to anyone who does a good job, parenthood included, whatever it may be.
Eric Berger says Hurricane Beryl knocked out power and internet to large chunks of Houston. Nasty storm. Xfinity internet is out. T-Mobile down to text and voice. So I ran to Best Buy last night, picked up a Starlink dish. Lots of trees, so had to get creative. Amazing results.
Elon says, cool, glad Starlink could help.
Sawyer says, news. 120 academics, scientists, and engineers have signed an open letter arguing that hydrogen vehicles hinder the green energy transition and shouldn't be promoted by Toyota at the Paris Olympics.
Elon said hydrogen is silly for cars and only barely sensible for rockets, where payload is roughly 1,000 times more valuable.
Peter says LLMs are on track to consume the very last bit of the internet's human-written knowledge by 2026. Will the data wall be overcome? Where do you expect more consumable data will come from? Synthetic, humanoid, robots in the wild?
Elon said synthetic validated against reality by humanoid robots.
Homar's catalog says only in the bizarro legal world is this a tough call, and this is the judge who voided Musk's pay package faces tough call on $7 billion legal fee. This case was an absolute disaster for the shareholders. The lawyers who brought it should be given nothing in light of the recent vote. As a matter of fact, in a fair justice system, they would be fined.
Elon said absolutely.
Elon said this new Optimus design, which will be complete later this year, is something special. That's exciting. So then Mike pointed out that the New York Times posted this article about SpaceX was hurting birds, and it placed the story above more important things like the French election. Elon said, to make up for this heinous crime, I will refrain from having omelets for a week.
Andrew McCarthy said they also apparently buried the story about Boeing being fined for negligently causing multiple plane crashes that killed hundreds.
And Elon said, yeah, in the same newspaper, they buried the Boeing story where they killed hundreds of humans, not birds. SpaceX says, what's worse, this story is super misleading. In one instance, it claims that 3 years of data collected by the Coastal Bend Group near the SpaceX site indicated a 54% decline in the threatened piping plover population through 2021. This is false. The frequently cited study conducted by Newstead and Hill is outdated and unreliable for describing potential piper ploving population trends over time.
Elon said the New York Times specializes in tediously misleading propaganda.
And then Jessica posted this post where she went there and said that it's amazing, actually, how the wildlife is doing. So firsthand knowledge is pretty good. And Elon said,
yep.
Holmar's catalog says FSD 12.4.3 still ping-ponging within the lane too much on highways.
Elon said 12.5 will finally combine the city and highway software stacks.
Sawyer Merritt says news. UAW President Sean Fain is under investigation by a federal watchdog, in part over allegations that he ordered a vice president to take actions that would benefit Fain's fiancée and her sister, according to new court filing. Sawyer says the two UAW presidents before Sean Fain were both sentenced to jail, and now Fain is under investigation for corruption. Corruption is systematic there.
And Elon said, yeah.
Imad says China will be the first nation with 100 million and then 1 billion robots, not in anyone's forecasts.
Elon says the future will have far more robots than people.
Benny Johnson says breaking. George Clooney calls on Joe Biden to step down from the 2024 presidential race after holding a $30 million fundraiser for him.
Elon said Clooney isn't authoring anything. He's an actor. That was written by someone working for the DNC who attached Clooney's name.
Jason Calacana says, I'm starting a nonprofit next. And this is because someone spotted Sam Altman driving a supercar.
Oh. And Elon laughed about it.
Ashley said, can Neuralink also be used to control epilepsy?
Elon says, yes, that is one of the future applications.
Hob Style says, you said we'll be able to control Tesla Optimus humanoid robot telepathically through Neuralink in the future. Did I hear that right?
And Elon said, yeah, I think cybernetic superpowers are likely in the future.
Elon then said the physicality of the brain becomes startlingly obvious upon inspection. It is a biological computer. Our brain shrinks over time as we age, and when you see the brain of someone with severe dementia, the damage is not subtle. What is surprising is that it functions at all. Elon said computers will control the future. They already do. And then Elon joked, when you're way underleveled for video game boss fight. Adrian says, breaking, the U.S. House has passed the SAVE Act, which would require proof of citizenship to vote, and then he posted the vote. Elon said,
there's a tiny chance that this will pass the Senate if a few Democrats cross the party lines, but Biden said that he would veto the bill even if it did. I wonder why.
Hallmark's catalog says, when you're an Elon hater but Electrify America sucks. The bumper sticker on that says. Edward Dowd says the most disturbing thing about the mainstream media turning on Biden is that about half the country had to be told by the propagandists that it's a problem now. They couldn't have their own discernment and use their own minds to see it. The biggest danger to the republic are these empty vessels of humanity. They sit around waiting for the propaganda download.
Elon said, NPC over-the-air update.
Then Elon responded to this meme that the truth doesn't mind being questioned, a lie does. Until next time, friends.
And Elon said, exactly.
Diana says, happy birthday, Nikola Tesla. Elon said, Nikola Tesla was great and AC was the right move back then. These days, with the proliferation of electronics that use DC and advanced power electronics, it would be better to use DC. High voltage DC is also materially more efficient for long distance electricity transmission. Wow.
Interesting.
Don't rename the company to Edison. Elon Musk says, having seen the evidence unearthed today by Congress, X has no choice but to file suit against the perpetrators and collaborators in the advertising boycott racket. Hopefully some states will consider criminal prosecutions. Richard says, New York Times reports on Elon Musk's plan to colonize Mars. He hopes to have 1 million people living there within 20 years and has volunteered his sperm. Practically every company Musk has founded is to help with this mission.
Elon said, best to hear it in the words I have used in many interviews over the years. I have not, for what it's worth, volunteered my sperm, laugh emoji. No one at SpaceX has been directed to work on a Mars city. When people have asked to do so, I said we need to focus on getting there first.
Andrew says the New York Times is reporting on Elon Musk's Mars project. The timelines have shortened. If Optimus ships by 2025 as promised, then I think we will see robots on Mars building infrastructure and habitats not long after. A capable enough grok eventually means fully autonomous seed ships.
Elon said, assume anything on New York Times is at least 50% fiction.
Hassan says, remember, you can hate him as much as you want, but 99% of the stuff he says is true. 99% of the stuff he is developing is for humanity. 99% of his thinking is extraordinary and worth learning.
And Elon said, thanks.
Alex says the amount of false stories that the media spreads about Elon and Tesla is incredibly high, and if Elon were to debunk every single one of them, he would be busy all day.
Elon said the legacy media is a propaganda machine.
Margaret Vestager says, in our view, X doesn't comply with the DSA in key transparency areas. It misleads users, fails to provide adequate ad repository, and blocks access to data for researchers. It's the first time we issue preliminary findings under the Digital Services Act.
And Elon said the DSA is misinformation.
Elon says the European Commission offered X an illegal secret deal. If we quietly censored speech without telling anyone, they would not fine us. The other platforms accepted that deal. X did not. Then Thierry Breton says back in the day, blue checks used to mean trustworthy sources of information. Now with X, our preliminary view is that they deceive users, they infringe on DSA. X has now the right of defense. But if our view is confirmed, we will impose fines and require significant changes.
Elon says we look forward to a very public battle in court so that people of Europe can know the truth.
Massimo says, where are we in the sci-fi movie timeline? And there we are. We're right after Soylent Green.
Silent Green is people!
And Wokeness says crime is so bad in LA that streets literally have no lights due to copper theft. This area has been dark for 3 months.
Elon said end of days vibes.
Naval says it's only a matter of time before they commence lawfare against Elon. Be ready.
Elon says been happening for a few years now. Sigh.
Alex says the European Commission wants two things. A, to control the information you see on X, and B, for you to not know that what you see on X is being controlled by the European Commission. They want to stealthily lobotomize you into a placid, compliant, and submissive individual.
And Elon said, yep.
Then this, Phidias, he's a YouTuber, he was elected from Cyprus as one of the 720 members of the European Parliament. And Elon said,
congrats.
And he said, Phidias is right. Super important decision. He asked basically to his viewers, do you want me to vote for Ursula von der Leyen as the commission president? Constantine says, people think I'm exaggerating when I say that our children are being taught to hate their own society and being lied to about history. I am not.
Elon said this is simply another manifestation of the extinctionist death cult philosophy, convince people that they're terrible via ancestral guilt.
Elon said Asimov's Foundation series was part of the inspiration for making life consciousness multiplanetary. Being multiplanetary greatly extends the probable lifespan of civilization. We must build Terminus. And we're going to explain more about this on Patreon bonus stories this week, so please join us. Sawyer said in the past 2 weeks, Tesla has secured new Megapack contracts worth a combined $800 million, totaling nearly 2.4 gigawatt hours of battery projects. These are just the ones we know about.
Elon said, long way to go.
Mario says teenager's model rocket achieves SpaceX-style landing. This is Aryan Kapoor, a high schooler, started building the rocket in 2021 with no prior experience, and in just 3 years created one with a SpaceX-style landing. His rocket uses advanced thrust vector control and clever landing gear.
Elon says, cool.
Tesla Boomer Mama says this about the Tornetta case, basically the one on the attorney fees. Here's the plaintiff attorneys stating what they would do with the 29.4 million shares.
Elon says they are contemptible parasites on the neck of Tesla.
Amy Wu says the dying art of in real life pickup. And this is basically how people over time have met their spouses.
Elon says the computers are choosing our mates.
Yeah, that red line is online. Elon Musk says, I fully endorse President Trump and hope for his rapid recovery. And this is, of course, after the assassination attempt. Elon then went on to talk a lot about that. He said, last time America had a candidate this tough was Theodore Roosevelt. Michael Schellenberger says this is a catastrophic failure of the Secret Service. The former president's head was a couple inches from being blown off on live television.
Elon said major fail, the head of the Secret Service and the leader of this security detail should resign.
Ian says, please triple your protection. If they can come for Trump, they will also come for you, Elon.
Elon said dangerous times ahead. 2 people, separate occasions, have already tried to kill me in the past 8 months. They were arrested with guns about 20 minutes from Tesla HQ in Texas.
Homar's catalog says, you better beef up your security too, Elon.
Elon said, maybe it's time to build that flying metal suit of armor.
Ryan says, how the one, do you miss a 125-meter rifle shot on a stationary target? 2, get within 125 meters of a presidential frontrunner without being seen and suppressed by the U.S. Secret Service. Both imply deep reservoirs of incompetence.
Elon says, absolutely. Easy shot from an obvious sniper position.
Wall Street Silver says there's no way that anyone should have been on that roof. The Secret Service has every roof covered during events like this. This really is looking bad for the Secret Service. Was it lack of manpower to cover that roof, or was it an inside job where it was left open?
Elon says lack of manpower does not explain it. Bystanders tried to point out the sniper to security in a very obvious location for minutes before the shooting.
Jack says the head of the Secret Service is Secretary Mayorkas of the DHS.
Elon says he ought to be in jail.
Elon said the head of the Secret Service and the leader of this security detail should resign. Chris Anderson from TEDx says, Elon, for God's sakes, you know almost nothing of what happened. This really isn't a moment for reckless posting.
Elon says, snap, time to wake up, Chris.
Cernovich says Director of Secret Service, who is Director Kimberly A. Cheadle.
Elon said, so before being in charge of protecting the president, she was guarding bags of Cheetos.
Hassan says, thank you, Elon Musk, for buying Twitter, or else we would have never got the right flow of information in this madness.
Elon says it was needed. Elon said the best reporters are actual experts in a subject matter, or those actually at the scene.
Elon says the New York Times just published this about Trump today. They are truly callous and despicable human beings, not a shred of empathy. And he agreed with this meme. Accurate. I was at that dinner a few tables away from Trump. At the time, I thought it seemed messed up to be picking on someone in the audience so meanly. And that is, of course, the Obama mocking Trump at the White House dinner. And it is time now for Community Mail Time.
Community Mail Time.
Remember, share your stories, your photos, and videos with us at hello@nowyouknowchannel.com. What do we got this week?
Alan saw this Cybertruck next to his Model 3 long range at the Supercharger in Tucson, Arizona.
Rob sent us this Instagram post of the mayor of Panama City with his Cybertruck.
Raphael spotted this red Cybertruck at the July 4th parade in Campbellsville, Kentucky.
Dwayne saw this Hyundai Ioniq 5 being used as a security vehicle at the Montgomery Mall in Maryland.
Peter saw this Nissan Sakura in Kyoto, Japan.
Carl saw this Rivian R1S at River Forest Tennis Club in River Forest, Illinois.
Brian saw this truckload of Teslas in transit from Fremont to Los Angeles.
TG saw these Cybertrucks in Long Beach, California.
Tim spotted these autonomous EV shuttle buses from Presto charging in Rossmore, California.
EB saw this black Cybertruck in Lake Elsinore, California.
And Roger spotted this American-themed Cybertruck at a 4th of July parade in Whidbey Island, Washington.
All right, it's time for the EV tip of the week. Remember, send us your EV tips at hello@nowyouknowchannel.com. What do we got?
Doug sent us this tip about a nifty Tesla feature you may not know about.
Hey everybody, Doug here from Toronto. Did you know that your Tesla can lock your car and do something else with your phone as you walk away from it? Today's a windy day. It's about to rain in many places, and I thought, you know, if you forgot to close your windows, your Tesla close the windows for you. Not bad. How do you know?
Why didn't I know that was true?
Oh, I knew that was true.
I guess I just thought I was really good at remembering to put the windows up. All right, it's time for Supercharger reviews. Let's see what's out there in the world.
Hey, Zach and Jesse, it's Ellie in space, and I am here in Orlando at the newest Supercharger. This is by the Florida Mall, and they actually had a grand opening this morning, November 13th. But as you can see behind me, we have Tesla's charging. I guess it's been functional for about 3 weeks now, and there are 16 stalls here, and the charging speed is 250 kilowatts. But take a look over here. This is interesting. The Tesla Supercharger is actually piggybacking off of the Electrify America's infrastructure. Now, they've been here for about 6 months, and as you can see, there's a line of cars because they only have 6 stalls and their charging is slower. Another thing I want to point out about the Supercharger in general, hey, it's right by a mall. Not only are there great places to eat, you can kill time by shopping, but there is also a Tesla showroom by the mall, and then there's a service center down the road. So we have close access to the highway here. We have a lot of opportunities if you're hungry and want to get a bite to eat, but I would give this Supercharger probably an 8 out of 10. All right, Zach and Jesse, now you know. Back to you.
Hi, I'm Greta at the Kearney, Nebraska 8-stall version 3 Supercharger. There is a pull-in charger and there are a decent amount of fast food options around. But since it's so far off Interstate 80, I'd only give it a 5 out of 10 on the Jesse scale. Now you know.
Hello world, this is Holger from Austria again. I'm here in Germany at Nossen Supercharger. This Supercharger has 10 stalls V2. It is located at a fuel station next to the highway. It's convenient to reach. I rated a 5 out of 10. Now you know.
Hey guys, my name's Griffin, and I'm coming to you from Tukwila, Washington, where a brand new Supercharger has opened. This is a 16 stall, 250 kilowatt charger, and in my opinion, it's one of the best I've ever seen. Let me tell you why. First of all, it's in front of a Starbucks, which is handy, and over yonder is a Target for all your shopping needs. But wait, there's more. In the same lot are several bakeries and restaurants, a Dollar Tree, fast food, beauty stores, salons, and a bank. Within a block, you can find a music store, a liquor store, a bookstore, REI, and so much more. The only downside to this Supercharger is that almost everything closes by 8 or 9, and Target closes at 10 p.m., after which there are no open bathrooms. There's also an Electrify America on the other side of Starbucks for those with inferior electric cars. Just across the street is South Center Mall with a food court and over 130 stores. They also have a movie theater with 16 screens. I'd easily give this charger an 8 out of 10. All-night bathrooms, better visuals, and a park or playground for the pets and kitties are all that is missing to make this a perfect 10. Now you know.
I like how people are using the Jesse scale.
Yeah.
Being really tough.
Yeah, it's nice.
And if you spot a beautiful Supercharger, send us those pictures. This week we're going to Tesla's Charging on X, where they say the 2,000th stall in Norway and 15 others now providing a steady stream of electrons in the Vorgensfossen, Norway's best-known waterfall.
I like the design that they print on the thing.
I know.
That's cool.
I can't wait to see more of that. That's really pretty. All right, what do we got for new Superchargers in the world?
We got the 6-stall version 4 in Griffith, New South Wales, Australia.
We got the 16-stall version 4 in Voringsfossen, Norway.
We have number 202 in France is the 12-stall version 4 in Saint-Pardieu-les-Hautigues, France.
Nice. Number 44 in Colorado is the 8-stall version 4 in Frisco, Colorado.
The 12-stall version 4 in Alexander City, Alabama.
The 12-stall version 4 in Genestad, Norway.
Number 32 in Finland is the 12-stall version 4 in Raseo, IKEA, Finland.
Number 91 in Italy is the 8-stall version 4 in Firenze, Florence.
Number 14 in Poland is the 12-stall version 4 in Szczecin, Poland.
Expanding from 43 to 51 stalls is the version 4 in Lyngdal, Handelspark, Norway.
Number 134 in Norway is the 20-stall version 4 in Rena, Norway.
Number 25 in Alabama is the 16-stall in Birmingham.
Number 75 in New Jersey is the 12-stall in Maple Shade, Route 38 East, New Jersey.
Number 64 in Washington is the 12-stall version 4 in Rochester.
Number 49 in Arizona is the 12-stall version 4 in Phoenix, Arizona.
The 12-stall version 4 in Mountain View, California.
Number 61 in Illinois is the 12-stall in East Peoria, Illinois.
Number 84 in Pennsylvania is the 8-stall in Mifflintown, Pennsylvania.
Number 93 in Australia is the 3-stall in Kerrang, Victoria, Australia.
Number 143 in the UK. Number 1262 in Europe is the 12-stall in Sheffield.
The 20-stall in Gardena, California.
And number 469 in California. Number 2306 in the USA. Number 6500 in the world is the 10-stall in Marina del Rey, California, at Pier 44.
Woo!
Wow. That's nice. 410 weeks in a row. Jesse and I have been bringing you this show, and it's an honor that you've chosen to spend your valuable time with us.
Our goal is to bring you news and analysis about the changing world that is everything Tesla, SpaceX, Boring Company, and Neuralink.
It's been a tough week. We've seen a lot of them recently, haven't we? But we'll get through it together.
Stay kind to one another.
Stay strong.
And stay curious.
And thank you for being awesome.
We'll see you next week.
Now you know.